Hey everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality back with you here today to go over something that falls in the category of karma's a bitch, isn't it? So, this article is from Outkick. It's from April 22nd. It says, Late night's hard left shift crushes ad revenue, which, of course it did, because that's inevitably what was going to happen. If you alienate your audience, or at least a significant portion of it, you're going to not have as much money. So we're going to skip down here and start with the article, and it says Jimmy Kimmel unofficially kissed half the country goodbye in 2017. I see what is this linked to? Oh, the Fox. Okay, I know what that is. So it says the former Man Show host, addressing his hard left turn, said, "Not good riddance, but riddance to Republican viewers. I remember that." Turns out the feeling was mutual, and it wasn't reserved to Kimmel's crowd. So I never really was a huge late night watcher. I was subscribed at one point, so probably back in like 2017, to all the late night channels, because I thought some of them had some good clips, except Kimmel I wasn't, because I've never been a fan of Jimmy Kimmel. I've always thought he came across like a smug prick. Even back to his Man Show days with Adam Carolla, I just never liked the guy. But I was subscribed to like Jimmy Fallon because there was one game that he played, I can't remember, the thing with the boxes, and the guests would, the crowd would pick like what type of box it was, or pick box like 1 through 9, and the celebrity guest would pick out what it was, and the other person would have to like feel it through a screen, not knowing what it was, to like try to guess what it could possibly be. I thought that was pretty funny. And like Conan is Conan. Conan was always my favorite out of all of them anyway. He just seemed like a regular dude that had this job. Who else was up there? I never watched Colbert, just didn't care. And I think this article will go over whoever else is on there, or that I just am not remembering off the top of my head. Corden had the occasional thing, but I will say, actually, going back to Kimmel, the one Kimmel thing that I did watch was all of his skits with Matt Damon, which I would recommend anybody watch, because they played it off like they had some real serious issue with each other, but it was all just an act, but it's really, really funny. And that was like the only thing that I actually watched for Kimmel for, was like the Matt Damon stuff, but that's it. But yeah, I think we all know that since, a certain orange man became president a few years ago, that late night just collectively got a massive case of TDS. So naturally, that's what's reflected here. And Jimmy Kimmel basically was like, F you guys, I don't care. And oh, look, everybody that he said to go away went away. So anyway, the article here continues. It says, Variety shared some shocking numbers related to the world of late night leftism. Revenue from late night TV, including NBC's Saturday Night Live, collapsed over the past 5 years. The liberal site buried that in a news story about the sorry state of late night programming. Of course they buried it, because they don't want you to see that, because it makes them look bad. Not Variety, but the late night host. So from Variety, it says, in 2018, 7 late night programs: NBC's Tonight and Late Night, CBS's Late Show and Late Late Show, ABC's Jimmy Kimmel Live, Comedy Central's Daily Show, and I've never watched the Daily Show in my life. So NBC and NBC Saturday Night Live drew more than $698 million in advertising in 2018, according to Vivix, a tracker of ad spending. By 2022, that total came to $412.7 million, a drop of approximately 41% over 5 years. So I wouldn't necessarily say like that it cratered, but it took a hell of a drop. I mean, that's not good. Cratered, I would think, is like if it was down to like, maybe, the teens of millions sort of thing. Then I'd say yes, that absolutely cratered. Article goes on, says prognosticators can blame the rise of streaming alternatives and social media platforms, but the numbers are too ugly to be explained away that easily. It's impossible to avoid the biggest issue facing the modern late night landscape. The format, which once served apolitical laughter uniting all Americans, that's correct, is now almost uniformly hard left in tone and monologues, and it's angry. Oh, so angry. Johnny Carson would not approve. Correct. The shift happened unofficially in 2015 when late-night hosts sided with Hillary Clinton in her presidential battle with rising star Donald Trump. The hosts may have leaned to the left prior to their slugfest, I'm sure they did, so particularly the latter years of David Letterman's Late Show, but they dropped any semblance of fairness when Trump became the GOP nominee, and we all know how that turned out. Yes, we do. Says the assembled hosts, with the exception of Fox News superstar Greg Gutfeld, who, by the way, is the #1 late-night host right now, so good for him, veered even further left following Trump's presidency. Said except the format's transition doesn't fully capture how the shows evolved during that change. It's fine for a Bill Maher or Trevor Noah to pounce and or seize on GOPers behaving badly. Says that's what a late night satirist would do. The hosts all but ignore Democrats who richly deserve their scorn. President Joe Biden's nonstop gaffes, for example, rarely make the monologue cut. Comedians pretend Vice President Kamala Word Salad Harris doesn't exist, leaving a gold mine of material off screen. Yeah, I mean, I've hardly see clips or even conservative media people talking about any of these shows, including SNL, have any sort of skit about, the things that happen with Biden and Kamala. And it's like, you have comedy gold sitting right there. I mean, me, myself, have made, and this channel's only been around at the time I'm recording this for a little over 4 months. And I think, probably if I was to go back and look, probably at least 3/4 of my videos are about something one of those two did, including my videos that are more of the clip videos where I'm not actually talking and it's just, them saying stuff and me putting in clips of movies or TV shows in there as well, like Memology's channel, if any of you are familiar with that. It's basically that. There's just so much out there. Anyway, so Saturday Night Live can't muster any sketches about the current commander-in-chief, but assault Trump, Tucker Carlson, and other Heartland favorites on a weekly basis. That's correct. And when hosts like Seth Meyers, he's another one that, I liked him when he was on SNL and in some of the movie stuff he does, but as a late night host, he's atrocious. I'm not even going to say anything else. Say Jimmy Fallon and John Oliver aren't, and you guys kind of messed up the spelling of the word aren't there. Aren't slicing and dicing Republicans, are delivering lectures designed as monologues. Correct. They even coined a new-ish term for the practice, which is clapter. And just in case anybody doesn't actually know what clapter is, I'm going to click on that. And of course, it's going to take about a half an hour to get over to that Urban Dictionary page. But clapter, it says it's a joke, often making a political or social statement. And by the way, joke was in bunny ears. Said whose purpose is to make the audience applaud and agree instead of laugh. It's popular with hack comedians and their fans. So, yeah, just so you know what that is, because I'm not sure everybody's heard that term before. So I did want to go back to John Oliver as well. He's another one that for the first couple of years the show was on, it was on right after Game of Thrones. So that was my Sunday night. It was probably my favorite night of television that I watched, was sitting and watching Game of Thrones. And then right after that was John Oliver. And again, the first couple of years were funny. And even though I didn't necessarily agree with a lot of the stuff he mentioned, I was just yeah, it's still pretty funny. And this is I know this guy from the show Community, so I was he was kind of funny on that when he was on there. So I'm yeah, I'll give it a shot, and I liked it. And then after Trump won the election and he came back on the air because the show was off the air at the time that the election happened, I remember his the second episode back was just complete TDS, and he said something on the show, and I wish I could remember what it was, that made me go, okay, that's a lie. I know that's not true, what they just mentioned. I know for a fact that's not a true thing. And I just said to myself, because at that point that happened, I was already getting really pissed watching some of the TV shows I did that just decided we're going to abandon what we're doing on our show already and just go full on, social justice, BLM bullshit. That's a video for another time. So I was already really kind of sensitive to that sort of stuff. So I remember saying to myself, if he does this again next week, I'm not watching the show anymore. Sure enough, that's exactly what happened. And I removed his show from my subscriptions or whatever, on my DVR. I just said, I'm out. I'm not doing it anymore. And I've never watched it again. So yeah, that's my story with John Oliver. But going on with this article here, it says, here's a perfect example from Saturday Night Live. And I saw this sketch, and this is, because again, I can't play audio in my videos, or I can play the video, but you wouldn't hear a damn thing. This is just not funny at all, what she brings up. And this is supposedly a non-binary person who's obviously a woman, and you're looking at her. And plus the name's Molly, which non-binary, not a thing, but, yeah, this is just not a funny thing. It's one of those things that you just kind of, a sketch, you listen to her and you're just kind of okay. And am I supposed to laugh at that? What was that? It's just not funny. So article continues, says the hosts in question combine that naked partisanship with an arrogance that may alienate even left-leaning viewers. I'm sure a lot of left-leaning viewers have gone away from it as well. Even though it might be something, the politics are something that they would agree with, even though a lot of these shows have gone hard to the left, even liberals are probably okay, this is supposed to be funny and nobody's laughing, sort of stuff. It's clapter, as the article already said. So It says, recall how several hosts mocked ordinary Americans for protesting the draconian lockdowns during the COVID-19 era. Not only were those lockdowns later proven to be ineffective, they shattered businesses and livelihoods along the way. It says, for Colbert, who kept collecting his gargantuan paychecks during the lockdowns, those potential viewers were Trump bots deserving his mockery. Because, of course, every single time, they get people are complaining about them, they must be bots. They can't ever actually be real people. That's a way they can just dismiss your claims. Okay. So article goes on, says, think they're watching his late show monologues of late. Says, Colbert also embraced COVID-19 vaccines in ways that alienated plenty of viewers. Yeah, Jesus H. Says his worship-like appearances with Dr. Anthony Fauci, whose behavior during the pandemic drew plenty of deserved scorn, also chased select audiences away. Yeah, I mean, if you watch some of the Colbert stuff, he does like these musical numbers about getting the vaccine. Like, he kind of went into it and he just became a sycophant like you've never seen before when it came to this sort of stuff. Like, you would just kind of want to look at him and go, dude, chill out. Like, holy crap, just calm down with this. Like, you're going a little too strong in the paint here. Anyway, says late night TV is in trouble. Samantha Bee's basement-rated TBS show got the axe last year. I never watched that either. And plus, every single clip that somebody else showed seemed to be just this really angry person out there. Just everything on the right is bad, and everything the left does is good, even though it could very well be bad. Like, she was one of those people that, what's the thing? Like, if Donald Trump had... if people had come out and said Donald Trump had cured cancer, even though, and Trump said it too, and like they could actually say, like, we can prove to you that Donald Trump cured cancer, Samantha Bee would be the kind of person going, well, wait, we have to think about the cancer cells. Like, she has to be contrarian just for the sake of being contrarian, because it's a tribalistic thing, not because it makes any actual sense. Anyway, it says Noah, so it's Trevor Noah, who's from The Daily Show, said who ranked slightly higher than Samantha Bee in the ratings, raced to the bottom, resigned from The Daily Show last year too. And he's a guy, he can occasionally be funny. There are some things of his that I genuinely was like, okay, that's actually funny. But more often than not, I was like, dude, you're just wrong about what you're talking about, like provably wrong. And it's like, I can't believe people would still, like, the people who are doing fact checks for you, if they are just not finding out that what you're saying is bullshit. But okay. Says James Corden bids goodbye to the Late Show in a few weeks. Yeah, don't care. Says revenues could continue to plummet unless the hosts in question summon their inner Carson once again. Yeah, make it for everybody. And I thought this comment down here I'm going to show, even though I don't typically go over comments, because I just thought this fit. It said, let them all fail. Wholly agree. Just let them all go the way of the dodo bird. I take zero issue with that. And that, like, this is one of the many examples we've seen in the last, 5 or 6 years of, something failing, or at least I shouldn't say failing necessarily, but an entire portion of an audience for something just leaving, and everybody that's on the side that's still there, or at least the people in charge, are like, oh, well, that's just the way it is. You saw that with like Gillette when they came out with that like anti-men ad a few years ago. And I stopped using Gillette products after that myself. I just went, nope, I'm out. I don't need to support you guys anymore. And then you saw that like the someone that was a high up person at the organization came out and was like, yeah, we lost $8 billion like in the last quarter. I think it was like a staggering amount of money. And he was like, oh, but we're doing the right thing. And it was like, if I was the boss of Procter and Gamble, which owns Gillette, and somebody came out and was like, yeah, we lost $8 billion because of we decided to market to a group of people that is like really, really, really like mind-numbingly small, and a whole bunch of people said, we're not using any of your products anymore, we lost $8 billion, I'd be like, your ass is fired. Like, why do you have a job here? Like, why is that something that's okay to you? And it's Procter and Gamble. I mean, $8 billion is probably like a drop in the hat to them, to be perfectly honest. But still, I mean, you see this all the time. You even see this in sports. I mean, what I keep hearing about the NBA, for example, and I haven't watched the NBA like consistently in at least a decade. But I keep seeing things that like their ratings are down, and even like, what was it, the NCAA women's basketball tournament that took place a month ago outdrew the NBA finals in terms of ratings. Like, that shouldn't happen. Like, the NBA finals should be one of like the premier things. That should be like, the Stanley Cup finals, even though hockey's like way down of the big four sports, but it should be like the Stanley Cup finals, the World Series, and the Super Bowl. And Super Bowl is going to be the top, probably the World Series next. It should be like the NBA finals after that, or at least in line with the World Series. But here it is that a college event outdrew them. And like a secondary college event, no offense to the women, but the men's, college basketball championship would be the number one thing. The women's would be number two in there. But still, it's like you can't outdraw that. Why do you think that is? And instead of going, oh, it's all because of this crap and we need to get rid of it, they just go, nah, we're just going to keep doing that. And it's like, all right, then people like me, again, even though I don't watch the NBA, are just going to say, I don't want to watch this anymore. And I'm not going to use this product. I'm not going to watch this TV show. I'm not going to go see that movie. They just don't get it. And it's not a hard thing to understand. I mean, we're talking like a 1 + 1 is 2 sort of simplicity to these things, but whatever. I'm rambling on here. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.